You wanted to do the walk down the aisle with your dad, right?
Yeah.
And that's not really a part of our culture to do.
Yeah.
And because it's not a part of our culture, that's what caused the confusion. Where my dad thought that he's supposed to walk down the aisle with me. So this guy is like trying to hold my hand while I'm walking down the aisle to like go down and wait for her. And I'm just sitting there. You can see me on camera, just like pushing his hand. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? That's not part of the program.
What is up, guys? My name is Philemon Meazza, coming back at you live, and you are watching the Brief Dive Podcast. Hope you enjoy.
Today we're sitting down with two very special guests, my sister and my brother-in-law, to have an honest conversation about weddings, marriage, and Habesha culture. We're talking about what wedding planning really looks like behind the scenes, when it stops feeling like your wedding, and the family and cultural pressure that comes with it. We'll also reflect on marriage beyond the wedding day and share advice for young Habesha adults navigating relationships, family expectations, and life. Welcome to the show, Yerusalem and Alula.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Big fan of the show. Great job.
Thank you.
Let's get them likes and views up and share this with everybody.
Best intro ever. Nice. This is going to be a very interesting episode, guys, because this is the first blood on the podcast. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Before we get into the topic, though, I want us to play a little trivia game. Who knows the bride more, the brother or the brother-in-law? We have somebody in the back reading the questions. Let's just get started. So here's what we're going to do. Camera person is going to read a question. It's going to be about you. We're all going to write on the board for a certain amount of time. At the end, we flip it. Whoever gets the right answer is the right person. We get a tally. Oh, wait, I'm so curious. Oh, by the way, Yerus was the one that created these questions. Yerus is the person behind the screen.
So
I don't know what these
it's
are.
biased. This
Very
is
biased.
female,
Well, I made sure
bias.
that it's not biased because you technically both don't know the questions, so it's going to be fair. This is the first time you guys are hearing these
I'm
questions.
scared, bro. I can't be looking bad. I know you. Okay, whatever. Let's just do this.
First question. What is her favorite coffee order?
Good Lord. He passed the timer. You know, you need to get on your...
I had to finish my
but
sentence.
it's all right. You know, first time on the show, I'll be nice.
Iced vanilla coffee with 1 cream and 1 sugar.
Nice. Okay.
That's cap.
I think Alula should go first.
I'm not buying that. That's not what I'd be ordering for her. 2 sugars, 2 cream, vanilla, iced coffee.
I told you I cut down the sugars, though.
You said 2 sugars, 2 creams. You said
1 cream, 1 sugar.
okay.
And then vanilla,
You said
which is
vanilla?
what I put.
Okay. Did you say iced or non-iced?
I didn't put specification.
So I said bunna with 1 teaspoon of milk. I had no idea what the answer was, so I just guessed. Next question. What tally for us?
I think...
We know who's
Okay,
right.
I
I was
think...
right though with the bunna. Like,
Yeah, that's true. Like, coffee, I drink it with milk at home, but, like, if I was to order it, I feel like I would add vanilla. Like,
Ooh, I'm on a hot streak already.
yeah, but it's different though. Like he would get the coffee for you, like in one day. Or,
but that's
like,
true, though.
when
You know,
would I-
okay, someone know that I don't drink coffee with without cream or milk, so I guess we'll just give them a point each.
No.
Because
He got the
technically-
point. He got the point. It's okay.
United Nations over here.
got
Just
it.
trying to find a way.
No,
Let me
I'm
get the win.
What's her least favorite household chore?
Cooking.
Really?
My least favorite.
I thought you liked cooking.
No.
Got you a cookbook.
I will clean.
It
I will
ain't been
scrub the
open.
toilets. I would do that before cooking.
I
Yeah.
said washing dishes.
I like to wash the dishes. I just don't like the cooking.
Why is there so many dishes in the sink?
What are you talking about? I
When
wash
you
your
leave it in
dishes.
there.
Those are your
I
dishes.
wash your dishes
I
more than
scrub
you
the
wash
pots.
mine. You don't wash my dishes.
I wash your dishes.
Look at that. The sibling rivalry right there. And I put cooking.
Oh my gosh.
Washing
wow,
dishes?
I'm looking bad in this one.
Like
bruh.
I said earlier.
That's the one thing I actually will do.
I'm
And
hungry.
like, if I don't cook,
don't think
I'll
I've ever
clean.
seen
I
you
will
wash a
clean.
dish.
You cap. I always wash dishes, right, Allah? Bruh.
What's a skill she's currently working on or wants to improve?
I'm working on L&D. Ready.
Learning and development skills. What you said, L&D? It was either that or confidence.
I wrote L&D, like under that would have been public speaking because that's kind of what you're
Okay.
doing. Confidence.
Yeah,
Boom.
yeah. I'm trying to work on that.
I put
Learning.
cooking. I'm hungry. That's crazy. I'm working
Cooking.
on what I consult people on.
We have to work on her level.
That's very absurd.
I cook.
She need to learn and develop them cooking skills. That's what she needs.
What's her favorite color?
Bro, everybody's gonna get this right.
He's taking long, chat.
Well,
Deduct
I'm
some
writing it.
points.
I'm writing it bigger. I got instructed. They were on a strict program here at this
All right.
podcast.
The answer is purple. Purple's my favorite color.
Purple.
Okay, I guess you guys
Para
both
para.
tie. I guess you guys both
lavender,
tie.
I would have lost it. I swear.
Okay, do you know the actual shade of purple though? Do you guys know the? I'm just curious.
Lavender.
Bonus
Like-
points. Periwinkle.
Oh yeah, you got it. Periwinkle.
I'm like that.
That
out
wasn't
here.
It's the
that.
same thing though.
Lavender is not the same shade.
What was her major in college?
Here's my answer: marketing management. That was my BS. All right. Why are you looking at me like that?
All right, Philma, you show it this time. Let's see.
I think I got it mixed up with the person behind the screen. It was a major in business with a concentration in marketing management, but I thought it was marketing management that was concentration.
I put BS, administration, marketing.
No,
Okay,
no,
wait, no,
that can't be it. That can't be it. We both lose.
Okay, so no points. No points because it wasn't exact.
Is she more of a morning person or night owl?
Morning. At least I'm becoming.
Oh my gosh.
Morning.
I put night. She's not a morning person.
I'm not a night person.
She can't
She's
even
morning
get
person.
up.
Oh my gosh, I am a
You
morning. I
sleep
am
at
not
like
a night
9
person. I like to
PM.
go to bed early.
What's her go-to comfort food?
Is it fries?
Cereal.
Don't eat it.
Fries.
Wow.
I don't eat cereal.
You two go out though and eat. I see you eat at home, so this is biased.
I don't eat cereal that much.
What is her favorite Ethiopian meal?
Dora what? Or Dorhot Tsavihi or chicken stew.
Yeah, you better say or.
I don't know how to spell Tsavihi.
Uh-oh. Let's see what Billy got.
It's so biased, bro. I said shuttle. I swear you eat shuttle. I don't see you eat
All right,
Dora
nah,
Whip.
that's just wrong. He's just wrong.
Shitto's his favorite.
I don't even
His
think she
Instagram,
likes
I know.
shit.
No, I like Shitto, but nothing like Dora
And I
what.
put Dodo.
Oh my god. Come on, L, brother.
Hot podcast career start here.
And
Oh,
how they end. Oh my god.
What's a habit she's been trying to break recently?
Procrastination.
Wait. What does that mean though?
What do
you
you
talking
mean?
about? It's gotta be like a thing.
Like something specific?
we're going to insert a definition right here. On
No, but like I'm serious. Like that's something I'm trying to break. That's
Break procrastinate. Okay.
Okay,
Oh
oh, yeah.
wait. I guess mine kind of works though.
procrastination.
I'll put. How about if our answers go under that?
He's trying to find a way to win.
I said scrolling.
Oh
Not bad.
my gosh. That's a good one.
Mine, I put complaining. She cries a lot. And then also coffee. She's been trying to stop both, but I'm more realistic about what she's trying to get rid of.
What's a small thing that annoys her more than it should?
How you taking the longest is your answer.
She does this every time.
Overstimulation related to simultaneous talking in music. When there's like a lot of music blasting, like if it's a concert or something and like someone wants to have a conversation with you, I get like overwhelmed and it's just like too much. Like I can't hear what they're saying. I'm like trying it in my brain. I have like a war.
What was the
Women
Like
question?
I'm trying to.
word
I have a conflict of
overstimulation.
trying
What
to.
was the question?
My God.
What annoys me more the most? That annoys me. What do you mean?
I said disrespectful people. I didn't know what to write.
I put the real answer, which is folded clothes, like sleeves and socks that are folded over. It bothers her. She like has to get it straightened out.
Oh, that's a good one. That's
It's literally
that's
a pet
Oh,
really good
peeve,
one.
like an actual pet
No,
peeve.
I can go buy folded clothes. I don't like boxes.
No, he's talking about like.
Oh yeah, I don't like that too.
What was her favorite part of the wedding?
Okay, ready? The cake.
Bro, what?
The cake cutting was
cake.
the cake cutting was my because everyone's jumping and like hyping us up. It was like my favorite part.
Just all of them. People were like singing around the cake.
Yeah. Like the cake, the singing. Okay.
I wrote the lip syncing. Ignore the spelling.
Oh, you know what? That was a good one too. Wait, okay.
And I wrote singing to Allah.
Oh, they both got it. Okay, they both.
What's one non-negotiable for her future life?
Very broad questions. Okay.
Physical, mental health.
She's switching up all over.
These questions are just out of pocket. I'm answering the questions as they deserve to be answered from now on. Air.
What?
Non-negotiable.
Bro, that's for every human being.
I said family time.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ha, that ain't no non-negotiable.
I know who won.
Let's see who won.
9, 12.
Like that.
I would just like to say, I'm in the basement, right?
So I'm saying it has nothing to do with location.
No.
It's perception.
They coexist.
Nah, it's
right?
the truth.
You've known
is,
me longer. Fantastic job, by the way, both of
Don't
you
talk
guys.
to me.
You guys did really great.
Your cheap markers all over my hand.
And what did you take away from that game?
That I should coexist with you more, you know? Be around you more. Go upstairs.
I don't think it's close. I think it's just like he really hears me talk. Like I yap a lot.
Yeah, I think we all do. I don't think anyone doesn't, right? But I think...
Here come the excuses.
Nah, I guess I just failed. I would take the L. To the episode. Before we get into the questions, I
Yes,
want
sir.
people to know, how did you two meet? I'm going to get into that just really quickly. I think it's a very interesting story.
Technically, we never met.
You want to tell?
Yeah. So
Technically, we never met. What does that even mean?
well, our parents knew each other before we were born. So like we never really met. We just like we
High
were
credit
born
score.
and we just knew each other basically. I don't really think we had like a formal introduction because our parents. So our dads met at like a refugee camp in Sudan and they knew each other and then they came to the States here. They had us and then we kind of knew each other as kids. So I don't really think we technically met, right? You don't think so?
I mean, you could describe that in a couple of ways. So, like, first you would say we met as like little kids, and then later on in life, you already knew each other, but you kind of met each other at that time because you didn't really know each other more recently when you're actually a person.
Yeah.
As a kid, you don't really necessarily have like.
I mean, I guess.
Formal introduction. Sort of.
Like even if I met you as a kid, like we're just kids. We're not a real person yet.
We do have a picture.
Like when you're your
when we were
own
kids.
person later on and you meet somebody, it's kind of different. Later on, like maybe high school age or whatever you met.
We ran into each other.
But we
at
didn't
an
talk
event.
that much. It was more just
Yeah.
that was just like, oh, it's
Rekindling.
good to see
Yeah.
Good to
like
see
that
you, yeah.
person.
Like I
who's,
knew
like,
you when I was a kid.
We know
you
their family.
We know our
yeah.
parents.
In terms of meeting, I would say 2 times is what I would say. Like younger, actually first meeting, and then later on
When I
where
was a
we're,
baby.
Like, yeah,
This guy was at my christening party.
That's insane.
I know.
yeah,
So
that's true. There's pictures.
it's so funny though
Insert
because
it here.
it's so funny though because my parents knew him before I even existed. Like that's why.
Yeah, he likes to dangle that on top of you.
Yeah,
every
he's always
time.
like, ha,
True.
my parents knew me before you, and I'm like, damn.
We go way back. That's like a bond that you would never understand. Pre-1997, this world was like very peaceful.
Hater. Yeah, there's a picture before I was born with him and my mom. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I used to think
So-
it's really interesting how you
Yeah.
used to walk past him. You would say hi, and
Yeah,
then you'd hang out
yeah,
with
yeah.
his sister,
Yeah.
as if you would never know.
Whoa,
that-
let's clarify that. She didn't say hi. She would walk up to me, rudely ask me, where's my sister? And then
Oh,
keep
really?
going.
I was a lot closer with his sister because like when they used to come over when I was like a kid, and I used to play a lot with her, and he would just never like play with us because he just used to act like an adult when he was a kid. And so like me and her, we would play, we would
Okay,
jump
sounds
on our,
like something
we
I
would
would
jump on
love
our
to do.
beds,
Adult
we'd play
kid.
with our toys, and then he just like
Okay.
sits there with adults. And so like I just knew he was there, so I was a lot closer with his sister. And so me and his sister, we kept in touch.
Got you.
You hear that? You hear that? That's for everybody out there. That's like a life lesson there. When you don't necessarily hang out with somebody, it's okay to not say hi when you walk by them.
I
It's
say
called
hi.
being
I say hi. I ran into him at an event like
No.
years back, and then I was
Children
like,
out there.
"Hey, is your sister there?" And he was like, "No."
You're setting a bad precedent for the kids out there, children.
And
when
he
you
looks
walk by somebody you
intimidating,
know,
too. He
say
looks
hi
intimidating.
first.
He just like
and
looks so
then talk.
intimidating too. Because I don't know you like that. So
When you see someone, you say hi, how are you, maybe, and then you continue with what you're asking.
I've
That's how it
improved
works.
my social skills. Plus, you came off as intimidating. You looked like you didn't want anyone near you. And remember that one time I was like, "Oh hey, did you hear about the picture we had before?" And you're like, "I got it. I already saw it." So I was like,
Anyways, digressing. You guys got married 2025. Right?
Uh-huh. Been-
What did your like wedding contain? Like what was the wedding? Like was it 2 days, 3 days, 1 day? What was the steps from beginning to end before we get deeper into the subject?
yeah, I'd say it was 3 days. I guess if we count like
3 days.
the communion. So we did like a holy communion about I guess a month before that, which is like a more religious component of the wedding under like Ethiopian Orthodox. And then the actual wedding weekend was 2 days. So the wedding day, and then we have like the traditional mels, they call it mels or melsi. I think that would be 3 days total.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to count, like, there's, if anybody's, like, been a part of a wedding or had their own wedding, you would know, like, also there's, like, the part where you're doing either, like, dinner or just introductions for, like, the bridal parties or the wedding parties. So, like, the groomsmen and the bridesmaids, that's kind of a full day in itself where they meet each other, you go out to dinner,
Yeah.
you have, like, maybe rehearsals or whatever, and then, so that adds to it. So maybe there's extra day for that, but that's basically it.
So getting into the subject, what is one thing that you guys wish you knew before planning your wedding?
I kind of knew this, but I think I should have like emphasized it a lot more. Is timing. Like things are always gonna get pushed back, and I was so like diligent on like having a start and end time to like so many things. Forget like the makeup time, the getting ready, like the pictures. Like some of those things did get pushed back a little bit, but like also like even the entrance of like the wedding too. Like our entrance, that was
nerve-wracking. A lot of people are nervous for the entrance.
yeah. I mean, I think for like
I was a groomsman, by the way. I didn't even.
yeah,
go
I
and
think
say
for the
that.
bridal party, because you guys were like trying to like rehearse, and I think for me, I was most nervous about like the number of people that were going to show up, because Habesha time is like what 2 hour late, so I made sure on the invite we added like 2 hours
More
early.
like 4 hours.
4 hours, yeah, because Habeshas tend to not show up on time. It's just not a good habit we have in our community. You can say you have a certain end time to everything, but always add buffers. Nothing happens the way you played it. I'll tell
Exactly.
you that.
Yeah, that's one thing I was expecting, looking forward
Yeah.
into it. In behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like as people were showing up later, we were just like, let's just get this in, regardless.
Yeah.
Like if they miss it, they miss it. They chose to
Yeah.
come late.
So the entrance was, I mean, we did good. I think it was like 20 minutes past what I wanted, like the latest. I was like 4:30 is the latest. Like I'm not waiting for anybody. We got out like 44, 45, 4:50, which is relatively early-ish from what I heard from
Yeah.
many Habesha weddings, you know. But I think in terms of everything else we had scheduled that day, so many things got pushed back too, like the church, the pictures, like a lot of things just
It does
got
take,
delayed.
like a ripple effect.
It does.
When
Ripple,
someone
yeah.
shows up late.
From the beginning, you have to understand that it's going to be like a fluid situation. You can't expect that it's going to be like 10:05, you're going to go to the next thing. It might be 15 minutes, 20 minutes or whatever. You try to keep the train moving, but
Yeah.
like things happen.
I try to add buffers though. I'd be like, oh, roughly like,
Space
you know,
cushions,
10 to
yeah.
10:30, you know, that's the approximate time. But like going back in time, if I was to do this again, I would add like 1 to 2 hour buffers.
Jeez.
Because,
It's
like-
impossible. You can't do that.
No, I'm just saying like if you
Yeah.
expect something to start at 10, you have to anticipate the latest it's going to start at is 11:30. You know what I mean?
When you say like one thing I wish I knew, I would say what I talked about earlier. The day before the wedding, you have like time for the groomsmen and the bridesmaids to like meet each other, and then you guys go your separate ways and do fun things on your own. I wish I would have put more thought into it to make it like interactive, or make it like maybe just do more or whatever,
Like
or just to
activities?
make the most of it. Like I enjoyed it
Mhm.
and it was good, but if I was gonna go back, I would just make it more like clearly like this is what we're gonna do. This is on Thursday, and Friday we'll do this with the girls, so that we have like plenty of stuff for like memories when you look back and you'll say, okay, remember we went out here, we did this, we did that. We had memories, we did stuff.
Mhm.
It was good. But if you're saying go back, that's what I'd probably say.
I feel like
Okay.
with the stress of the wedding leading up, I feel like I wished we had more of that like after the wedding. Like we did a lot more things together because like after the wedding, it's like you can kind
It
of
was very
decompress.
quick.
Yeah, like
people
we-
leaving
like-
and flying back out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the days before, we had to like consider everyone's like work schedules. Like some people only had like a day off before the wedding or 2 days off and stuff. So like there wasn't really a lot of time for us to like spend time together with like the bridal party, like the grooms and the bridesmaids and stuff. So I think it would be nice if we all had more time to just like hang out and like you said, make memories and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think for me, it's timeline.
One thing for me, because I was in the wedding, I'll say that was behind the scenes. I wish I asked more questions because I figured a lot of things the day of. I'm not gonna lie. I should have been a part of the process, but I think I did pretty.
I
good.
even had to
I did pretty good.
Yeah.
had to keep film.
Yeah.
I even had to keep telling Filmon like, Filmon, this is the wedding date. This is the 2 dates. Like I had to
Engraved
make
in
sure
my mind.
he put it on the calendar. I mean, not that he forgets things like that, but it's just like little things matter. Like even like, okay, I need you the day before. I need you the week before. Even the communion the month before. I was like,
I
was
sometimes I didn't even
trying
know
to
what day the
ingrain
wedding
the
was.
schedule in
I
his
just knew
brain.
That week I should be free, you know.
but he
That's
I got to
crazy.
give him credit though. He asked like 10 times
That's
before the
crazy.
wedding. He'd be like, what are we doing the day before the wedding? What are we
It's
doing?
because I
again?"
knew like whatever I'm gonna figure out, I'll just roll with it. Like I didn't need to, but whatever. Okay. Next question. I know when you plan stuff, typically other people get their opinions merged into your brain and they dilute your own personal opinion, the opinion that you initially wanted for your wedding.
Mhm.
So was there a period of time where it stopped becoming your wedding and more of just like a Habesha event?
Messy.
I think, I mean, and he could agree with this too. I mean, he could disagree
Let's
with
be
this, but I
careful, boys
think
and girls.
not just Habesha wedding, but I think in a lot of weddings, even American weddings, it's a lot of the times it's about the bride because the bride is like thinking about the decor, the color themes. Like I pick the color themes, I pick the decor, like, you know, or I pick the schedule, like, you know, and he kind of like just goes with it. And most of the times it's like that with the women, but
You heard that?
it's true. It's just like that. It's, you
She
know,
wasn't like this before the wedding. She wouldn't have.
no, I
I
mean,
don't know about that.
and he just goes with it. I'll be like, okay, this is what I want, right? And then he'd be like, yeah. Like, so I think whether it's Habesha or American or any wedding, I think a lot of the times it's, you know, it's usually what the bride wants. But in terms of opinions, I think with Habesha weddings, the family's a lot more involved. I mean, I don't know about other weddings,
Yeah.
but I think it's not just a marriage between the bride and groom, but it's also a marriage between two different families. And that you can sense that aspect in the wedding. So it's like the in-laws are heavily involved, you know, the parents are heavily involved, the friends and families of our parents are heavily involved. And especially the woman, I'd say, because I mean, we're all about the planning and we have a lot of the opinions. So it's like how we should dress, how we should act, whether we should cook or cater, how big the wedding should be. So like for me, I'm like, oh, you know, I mean, I grew up here. I want like a smaller, intimate wedding. Habesha weddings are a lot bigger, you know, like they want more people. And
it
so
gets trickier because once you know one person, then their family involved.
and like, you know, the
then they
aunties, right?
someone
Like
else.
they know someone. They're
The
like,
girls.
oh, I know this lady at church. Like I have to invite her, or like, you know, I think it would be weird if she didn't, or I think it'd be weird if we wore these kind of dresses. Like even like in Habesha weddings, you've probably seen this trend too. Like they like to wear like matching like dresses. And so that was also a big thing too. It's like, what do we wear? How do we make sure it complements the bride and the mother-in-law and like the mother of the bride? Like how does it complement? Or how we need to make sure we don't stand out, but we also look good. The other thing was also like in our culture, the bride is not supposed to be too like hyper. Like she's supposed to
be more reserved, be more like, she's not supposed to like talk a lot and really stand out that way. Like she's supposed to be,
sounds good, man, right?
bruh, like, you know, like I can't just go to the bar and grab myself a drink. Like I have to wait till someone like brings the drink over to me. I can't just run around and just like start saying hi to people and start chit-chatting.
Yeah.
I can't really overdo it. And so there's some people who would be like, oh, like you need to make sure you behave a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and you have to act a little bit more reserved and stuff. So like opinions like that, I think got into my head a lot. It would made me feel like it's not just like my wedding, but it's also like it's the community's wedding, you know? And so it's like, am I trying to like respect them and make them happy, or do I also like make myself happy and do what I want? So it's like trying to find a balance of both.
I think in the middle, you can kind of lose sense of what you wanted initially.
Yeah.
When people throw opinions in your head.
I was like, even the most, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want 2-day wedding, because like that's like so much work and like it's unnecessary. But then I came to the understanding of like what it means. And his mom, she actually explained to me more about like what Melcy means, like the meaning behind it and the reasoning behind it, as opposed to it just merely being a 2nd-day wedding. Yeah. And so that made me want it more than before, because first I was like, I don't really care about it.
Once they show you like the meaning.
Yeah. So like it really also changes like there's things, even the lip singing part, like we did a lip sync together. Like I would have never wanted to do that, but then I wanted to do that.
What made you guys want to do the lip syncing? Was that your guys' idea?
Sort of.
I've never seen that in any other wedding.
Some people did bring it up. I've seen it in some.
Like more like
I've seen it in
weddings?
some. Yeah, I've seen it in some. Like in Michael and Adis, I've seen it. Like some, I've seen them do it. But like friends of friends, you know, like our parents' friends would bring it up casually. They'd be like, "Are you guys doing this and stuff?" And I'd be like, "Heck no, I'm not doing that." But then later I realized I'm like, I kind of want to do it. So that's what I'd say about.
Okay.
I forgot what the question was. I don't know what that.
Yeah. 6 months later.
I talk so much.
Word salad.
Cut the credits.
I don't even know what the question was. I would say those, when you say family and like friends like taking over or whatever, I think that's like just common for a wedding. So what I would say that's maybe a little bit less common is more like the people that you pay for the event, and not understanding that they also have like a part of it that they want to look the way that they want for their business, or because they think based on their experience or whatever, it makes sense. So like your decorator, she might not think that something being the color that you want is gonna look good on camera for her, and so she might say no. Oh no, it won't be a no, but like you might have back and forth. And then a cameraman, he might, shout out to ours, he might want like 60,000 versions of the same video angle or picture angle, because he knows people are going to look back and be like, why didn't he capture this? And you're just going back to the timeline. You might want to just keep going. We got to get home, or we got to get to the next thing. And so I would just say like people who are in the background making the wedding happen, even the friends or family who are like helping out, you don't realize that like they also play a role. So they have an opinion, and they also have a choice. So like you can only give them so much direction, and then the day of, they take it from, you told me to do it this way, and then I took it and ran with it and made it 10 times bigger or totally different or whatever. So that's what I would say.
I did hear a lot of like stuff from the outside people telling you a lot of things, from the cameraman and the people that were just constructing it, and then the people that were just formulating the idea.
Yeah, it's a wedding.
It's understandable.
Yeah, they want the best for you. It's really for our own interests. Like they want it to be nice for us, and when we look back, we like those things, like the angles from the cameras, the certain color schemes in the decorations that the decor people recommended and things like that. So for us to kind of look back on. So
exactly. Yeah, it's all from like a good place.
A good
just
place,
sometimes we forget that.
In the moment.
In the moment. One thing that I was curious to hear your guys' take on this once I read the question. It was behind the scenes. I was behind the scenes. The person behind the scenes here was behind the scenes.
Producer.
Anonymous producer.
Producer yellow it.
She's making I haven't heard like a movement from over there.
Is she breathing?
Salam.
So what was the most shocking thing that happened behind the scenes that most people that were attending the wedding, or most people watching, would not have expected?
These are messy questions. We need views.
I mean, there's a lot of things that happened in the wedding. I'd say no, we're not gonna get too extreme. I mean, I don't know about him, but for me, I'd say there were some people that weren't getting along with the way certain things should go in terms of scheduling or the way the food was going to be set up and like little things like that, and like not really bickering but like misunderstandings there. I had a group of people to help me out with like the logistics and timings and things like that. Like people my age, we kind of had meetings and schedules leading up to the wedding, and then there were other people like our parents' friends who also thought they were going to be like in charge of logistics. So like I think both of them kind of clashed a little bit in terms of like misunderstandings of like, no, what do you mean we're gonna do it this way? No, I'm part of the team, I'm gonna do it this way. Who are you to tell me, you know?
Yeah, and I think the parents stepped into it thinking that there was no professional logistics teams in the back, so they thought,
or the parents' friends or like other people who, you know, wanted to help out.
That's what I meant, yeah.
I'd say that, but there wasn't really anything else.
Okay.
She took the easy answer again. I'll say not one thing in particular, but just know the groomsmen and the bridesmaids, they're drinking a little something, loosen up, you know, that's all I was saying. So it's getting ratchet in the background, more than you think. Like, you don't realize most weddings, you see like the footage, oh my God, look, they're all wearing the same clothes and everything. But in the background, people are arguing, like she said. And then also like, you know, there's a little bit of drinking, not a lot, but, you know, people nervous to go up there, like you said earlier. So like a lot of people are just taking a little sip to feel relaxed then jumping back and forth, arguing, going back, doing activities, that kind of thing, but nothing too crazy, I would say. Besides like the typical wedding stuff, which is drama and crying in the backgrounds. There were so many people crying, so many people like yelling, raising their voices or whatever, arguments, but nothing that crazy.
I would just first off say, man, you did a pretty good job. Just overall with the wedding.
My bridesmaids did amazing. Nobody was a ratchet. He's just being a hater.
Not even behind the scenes.
I didn't say anybody. I just said it was getting ratchet. I didn't say one person in particular or the group bridesmaids. I just said altogether, like it's not as clean cut as it seems.
Clean cut.
It really wasn't. Yeah, I think everybody as a collective whole.
I mean, I even think like leading up to like the morning. I thought the morning was so hectic. Like getting ready, we were running late. We were already behind schedule. Yeah. He was waiting for me downstairs for our first look. We did a first look. So I think by the time I went down the stairs, I looked really calm and relaxed. Before that, I was just a nutcase that morning.
Definitely threw like our feelings under the rug.
Yeah, it was not a pleasant. I mean, it wasn't the worst morning, but it was just really stressful. Like my hair didn't turn out the way I wanted, and you know, we were behind on schedule and things like that. But then by the time, you know, we did our first look, everything kind of all that disappeared. You know. Yeah. But it's just these are. And then seeing his face and how happy he looked. He turned around and then he's like, "Oh, you're actually..."
Take the first take or the second take?
Yeah, they're like, "Do it again."
Fourth take.
No, he had to wait. He had to wait for a long time because we were running late. But you know, little things like that.
Valid, yeah. It's more than every wedding day. Yeah. All of this stuff is kind of like expected. How do we say it? We're not really.
It's part of the process.
It's part of the process. Yep. Most people watching, they're thinking about getting married. Some people.
Yeah. In particular, the producer.
You're next. What is one thing that people overhype about a wedding, and then once you're done with the wedding, you realize that it wasn't really that big of a deal?
I think for me, easy decor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's one of them. There's so many things, but I think decorations, like the centerpiece has to be this way, like the backdrop has to be this way.
I literally said that so many times.
Yeah, I was like, it has to be like this, it has to be like this. And then when you look back at it, even in that day, it's like, I didn't even think about the decorations. I was thinking about all the people dancing, laughing, having fun, like even us in our moment and stuff. Like, yeah, the centerpieces looked great, but like, why was I so concerned about how it was going to look, you know? Because it didn't matter in that moment. It looked great. It was going to look great no matter what, you know? And so that's what I would say.
Which is hard to like think of when you're going into it.
I think it's important, but yeah, I guess I could see how it's overhyped. I probably would say overhyped is maybe just for me, but the stress. I think it's overhyped. I think a lot of people think it's going to be like, you're going to feel horrible the whole time. It's more of like, I would say you were more nervous most of the weekend than stressed.
I was nervous. Yeah.
There is some stress obviously associated to it, but it's not, I don't know, it's hard to say. It's not easy to do any event really. Like if you got a grad party, birthday party, whatever, and you're inviting a lot of people, it's going to be stressful because there's a lot of logistics, a lot of annoying stuff. There's annoying people you invite. There's people that you care about that you're worried about, like them having a good time and all that, but in general the stress is more way I think more women tend to stress
more though. More women tend to stress more too. That's with events, I think, because we're just very obsessive.
But really before the wedding, like months before, when you're like picking out things and making decisions, why aren't you interested in what the tablecloth color will be like? And that's where stress comes from, or my mom's telling me, or my cousin wants me to do, and it's like then the stress comes because like there's too much back and forth conversations. But in general, that weekend if you have the right people to help you, or at least some people to help you, it's not that stressful. It's more of hectic because you got a lot going on. You want to be on time. But like really the main thing is like, you want to have a good time because it's a memory. You got it recorded, but like you want to be able to look back and say, I enjoyed this moment, or I enjoyed this day, or I enjoyed this picture. Like you can look back on the picture and realize like, okay, I remember exactly what we were doing at that time. And you can't control that. Sometimes you're going to be upset or stressed or whatever, but you want it to be enjoyed.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you forget that too in the day because you're thinking about the next thing. Like, what's next? Are we doing this? This is coming up.
How does this angle look?
How does this look? Yeah. And so like I think
I didn't forget. But
yeah. No, he did a good job. I think throughout the day though, he would just be like, hey, we're good. Just, and then I'm always like, oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, this day is almost over. Like, I'm not going to get this again. Like, I have to really live in the moment. So every time I was kind of like antsy or like a little overwhelmed, he'll just be like, we're good.
See that? W me.
Yeah,
I think what was interesting about the wedding was you were very logical in, like, not logical. What's the word?
Wait,
I'm not logical. I'm definitely not logical.
Wait, what?
About to say, definitely not.
What's not critical? What's
Crucial?
Like when you are very like with like your plans.
Meticulous.
I guess mix of both. What? It starts with a C.
Critical? Calculated?
Am I? I guess you're calculated. You're very calculated from like the beginning. You started like a long time earlier. In the days leading up to the wedding, it's like no matter how long you plan it, there's still always going to be something that doesn't go your way.
Yeah.
He said it starts with a C. I thought he was going to say crazy.
Oh my God. Brides do go crazy before weddings.
But what Alula was saying, which was you want to focus on you also having a good time. So that being said, when you're in the moment, how hard was it for you to just say no to a family member, like when it comes to wanting it to go your specific way?
You mean the day of the wedding or just in general?
In general. Like, how did you do that? Because I was really curious because, you offend some family members or, like, how do you...
Maybe I should answer this one first because I'm naturally, it comes easy to me. I care about people's feelings, but at the same time, it's not your wedding. And there's people who it's their wedding because they're part of the family and like it's a joyous day for them and they want maybe certain things to happen or whatever. But personally, it kind of is what it is. If I don't think that it makes sense or it fits into what we were planning or we imagined this day to be, you're short out of luck, buddy. Hit the road. I'm sorry. There's nothing else I could tell you. So as long as I'm not overly being rude, like shut up and get out of my face or something like that, it's like, nah, we're not doing it. Sorry. Yeah. No, we need to move. It is what it is. And I'm not even talking about the people who are working only. Like the people who are like just maybe they want you to take a break and join them at their table or something. We're not doing that. This is how we're doing it. This is what we imagine the day to be. It's not about the fact that we paid for it. We did. But really it's because we're going to look back on it. It's our wedding. It's your second. It's not that it's not yours. It's your second. So you're second. So if it fits into what we planned or what we like, you can do it. Otherwise, step back.
That was well said. Very well said. Yeah.
I'll say two things. I'll be quick.
Go for it.
The first thing is we ended up having two church ceremonies. So as I said previously, like we had 3-day event. So a month before the wedding, we had like a holy communion, holy matrimony. I think that's what they call it with the Orthodox Church. So that is a little bit more conservative in how you dress. And so we had like, I had to cover my hair, I had like Habesha clothing and you can't dance, you can't touch water. There's a lot of things you can't do after that day because we did the Korban. What is it called in English?
Communion.
Oh, that's true. I keep thinking, I scratched that out. That's true. Because of the communion, there's certain things that there's certain rules that you have to follow. And then me, I've always wanted my dad to walk me down the aisle. So first they're like, can't do that because technically we'll be married the day of the weddings. But then, we came to a compromise where my dad was going to be able to walk me down the aisle. So we had like an actual church ceremony the morning of the wedding, which was less traditional. I was able to walk down with my bridal dress. It was a lot quicker because we already exchanged the rings a month before the Holy Communion. And I think there were opinions there where people were like, why are we doing this twice? We already did it before. It's just going to delay things further that day. Like, you don't need to go to the church again. And so it really made me kind of doubt things as I was like, I kind of wanted it to start that day. I wanted, that's the kind of way I've always envisioned it, And so that's when I was like, no, like, I don't care what you think. That's the way I want it. And I'm going to look back at it and I look back at it and I'm really happy, so because I've always wanted my dad to walk me down the aisle, or our dad, I guess. And so, and I don't care if people had to come to the church twice. If you want to do that, you can. If it inconveniences you, I don't really care.
You heard
so,
that? She doesn't care.
Oh no, but we're all saying this from a good place, guys.
Yeah. It's more just like, oh, like is that going to be too much for you? That's like hectic. It's not really necessary. Things like that, The second thing, I'll be quick. The guest count. The guest count. Like there were people like, oh, can I bring this person? Can I bring that? People asking like my mom, like, can we bring this? Like I was trying to be very strict with the guest list. At one point I capped it and I was like, that's it. Like, no, like I don't want anyone else. That's more than enough. Okay, these are the people that I want there to be in our special day. I mean, of course we would like to have you, but realistically speaking, like
how did you say no? Like how did you muster up that?
I said no.
You said
not to their face.
Through another.
I said no. I told my mom, I was like saying, because our parents are the ones that do the invitations, so
yeah, and they filter out.
Yeah, they filter out. It's very hard. It's very hard, especially with a big wedding. But it's we have to think about capacity and budget and all that stuff.
That conversation happens a lot for weddings. I know people who are planning a wedding right now for next year or the year after. They're having the same conversations. So it happens all the time. Oh, my mom just came to me and said she wanted to include 20 more people because they're important to us. If they're coming from out of state, we have to include them or something. It's like, well, short out of luck. We ain't got no room where they're going to sit. It's funny you brought that up. So like you wanted to do the walk down the aisle with your dad, right?
Yeah.
And that's not really a part of our like culture to do.
Yeah.
And because it's not a part of our culture, that's what caused the confusion where my dad thought that he's supposed to walk down the aisle with me. So this guy is like trying to hold my hand while I'm walking down the aisle to like go down and wait for her. And I'm just sitting there, you can see me on camera, just like pushing his hand. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? That's not part of the program. But because he saw that that's what the plan was and the priest thought that's what we wanted, he's like, he's trying to grab my hand. And I'm like, bro, what's going on in here? Stop touching me. So it's just funny because you wanted to include that and end up bringing something else.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was hilarious.
That was pretty funny. And dad walking with the shoes too.
Oh yeah. He walked in with the shoes and someone had to literally.
But that's like and he just was like out of like his head was somewhere else because like he was like focal point of attention or whatever.
Yeah.
But the walking me down the aisle or trying to at least just don't hold my hand. I don't know.
I remember you just kept trying to grab it and you were just like,
you can see it on the camera.
You're like,
too.
bro, stop.
Like, but like it's more subtle than I was than I thought it was because in real time I was like more just thrown off. So I just kept pushing his hand off. But looking back on it, I was like pretty smooth. You couldn't tell that.
Even mine, I think when my dad all the way walked me up to the front, I think I was supposed to give my bouquet to my sister or to my sister-in-law. It was one of them. I don't know what the plan was. I don't know. But then as soon as I got up to the front, I just gave it to my dad. My dad just stands there like, what do I do with this? He's just like standing with my flowers.
I feel like a majority of the day was like a blur though. I like forgot like the little moments.
Yeah, but it's funny looking back at it.
It's funny though. Okay, the next question. It was the tribes, right? Did you guys ever get pressure to get with someone within your...
You mean marry someone within? Like
marry, date get with someone within your tribe.
Gang.
Let me stop with some 4K.
Yeah, let the viewers know.
I mean, I think our parents like, how like they came to this country and they know that it's such a melting pot here that I don't think I felt pressured, but I'd say that the fact that we both happen to be from like the same place, or I guess tribe or state, like technically it's a state in Tigray, like Tigray, Ethiopia, it's like Tigray state. So we both happened to be from there. I think just comes to show that there was a lot of expectations with how many people were going to be there, because a lot of our parents, like our families, kind of knew each other because we were from the same area, right? In Tigray, a lot of our parents would be like, "Oh, you have to marry Habesha, or it has to be from this place." Even within Tigray, like there's different regions within Tigray too. You know what I mean? So it's like there's people within Tigray who like marry within their sub-region too. So it's like there's disconnects there as well. But I think the fact that we were born and raised here and we happen to be from like the same place, I think part of it
was like an addition, sort of. Like it wasn't definitely, it wasn't like pressure from your families, but like the fact that he happened to be from there just made it that much more.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me personally, I think it was a very big bonus because we share the same culture and we get to connect in that way, like with music and like with going to events together and things like that. And I think that connection was also like, you can sense that in the wedding itself, you know, or leading up to the wedding. A lot of the things that we did leading up to the wedding, like in terms of like culture and stuff like that. But yeah, that's all I can think of when it comes to pressure. Yeah.
Okay. I would say there's pressure, definitely, especially if you're born in this country and your parents are from another country and you're growing up somewhat in that culture but not really fully in that culture, so 50-50 if you will, and you feel the tug both ways for yourself, they don't feel that for obvious reasons. They might feel a little bit if they've been here long enough where they've simulated and they've grown and become part of the culture, but most of the times, 9 times out of 10, when it comes to like a wedding, maybe depending on your family, like could be birthday party or christening or something, they're pretty like, I wouldn't say stuck in your ways, but more of like traditional in that sense in terms of doing what they were raised to like kind of practice. So for that
was well said.
I would say definitely some pressure, but it was more always like, you know how moms talk, it's like a nicer, subtle type of pressure where like, oh, I don't really care as long as she's Habesha, it doesn't matter if you have to go to like California and live or whatever at some point when they see for a while like maybe you are or aren't with the Habesha girl by a certain point. But that was just, you know, pretty standard, not really like it has to be this, or I think they've figured out like they don't really have too much of a say, but they put pressure in some ways. Or I think probably most Habesha people can relate is when you go to like a family gathering, like a broader gathering or a community event or something with a lot of people that you grew up with or know or close with your parents, that's where more of like the pressure, outright pressure, like overt pressure will come from like people, because they don't really care about being too nice, so they're just like, why are you not with the Habesha girl yet? Or like even I've seen somebody who's like, they come with their significant other, let's say girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, who's not a part of the culture, right?
Oh,
and
that's
then,
interesting.
And then they're like, why don't you get Habesha girlfriend or boyfriend or something like that? And it's like, that's kind of pressure, but I would say that's the one like that you talked about. But there's the other pressure that comes, I think, once you've decided to be with somebody who is Habesha or particularly what your tribe is, like we are, where then the pressure turns to like following like their footsteps in terms of what they see as like traditional and right and stuff like that. So if we start dating, the expectation is that I would pursue her in the way that like her dad would have pursued her mom, in the sense that like being respectful to the family, meeting them, asking for their permission for like basically pursuing their daughter or whatever, allowing them to meet your parents, stuff like that. Things that might not be necessarily, maybe they might be a part of some of American culture, but not really the same way. And so there will be pressure on that side too. So like it's two different, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's two different angles, I would say. Before you start dating, to say like get with a Habesha or get with somebody who's like you. And then also like once you start, before you get to the wedding, obviously you got to propose. Before you propose, you got to ask her to be your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever.
And I even heard people were asking him like, why are you taking so long to propose to? Like,
yeah, that's like anywhere, like American too. They'll say like, why is she still engaged? And then like her friends will cause problems for them.
But in
like,
our culture though, it's a lot faster though.
In our culture, they expect it faster, and then also they expect you to do it a certain way. And so like, if you think like you're just gonna go about it in, well, actually, you can do it any way you want, but it's more of, we're talking about pressure. There's pressure on both sides. That's all I'll say. It comes both before and after the relationship starts. And then, even after the wedding day, there's other pressures that come.
Even during the wedding day, they even mentioned future pressures. Like, so when's the kid coming?
Christening, we can't wait for the christening. I'm like, bro, the wedding we didn't even finish the wedding day. Like, you know, and they're always, but it's for them, it's like wedding. I mean, I think going back to like the dating and stuff, a lot of Habesha parents, I think, and maybe this is an immigrant thing, but they just love weddings. Like for them, for their kid, they think weddings and babies are like the ultimate happiness.
So
you know?
wait, okay.
Other than obviously like college degrees and being successful in life, I think especially as a woman, like to Habesha parents, I think it's great if you get a degree and you become educated and you're working and you're a corporate woman. But it's like for them, their true satisfaction is like for you to get married and have kids. Because for them, it's like they came to this country and they had kids and then they see their joy in you. And so they want the same for you. And I think a lot of immigrants are like that. And so there's pressure in that too, where it's like, it doesn't even have, like some Habeshas, like I've heard, they'll be like, some Habesha parents, like they'll be like, you know what? It doesn't even have to be Habesha. Like, I just want you to find somebody. I want you to get married. Like, I want a wedding. I just want a wedding. Like, I don't care if you marry a white guy. Like, I just want a wedding.
You know what?
I want grandkids.
You know when they start saying that? When the PhD and a cat come into the picture and they're like, they're stressed. They want her to be with anybody.
Especially when I got cats, they raised a lot of eyebrows, especially from the aunties. They're like,
both. I'm telling you, PhD and a cat. No offense to anybody. If you're triggered.
Yeah. But
you know why?
I was just going back to when you were talking about like dating, and I think it's not just a tribe or culture. Like it can even be outside of your culture, because a lot of immigrants, they just they want that for you,
Yeah.
you know? So there's pressure in that too, where it's like, oh, I got to start dating. I got to look around. Maybe they don't have to be Habesha, but like they can just be somebody that I like and they're compatible with me. Doesn't even matter about the race and their background. Like, you know.
I think like as you get older, it
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
changes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the desperation kicks in. It's the truth.
I know me being young, I'm just gonna take the awareness into it. Like, I still am figuring out what I want, right? How do I say this? I do sometimes feel like pressure from myself and not from the people around me, which is something I'm figuring out lately. To get with someone from a similar location from where we were, but as I'm figuring out, it's just like it's definitely just a self-inflicted pressure for no apparent reason, and I still don't know what I want. So I think that's something that you would figure out the more you dive steps into like relationships and figuring out compatibility and what you need and what you don't need. So
Yeah.
that was all to say. Like, I'm just young to really.
And going off of what you
No.
said, just speaking to the viewers out there, and I'm assuming a lot of them are Habesha, right? Like speaking to Habeshas out there who are,
We're inclusive.
we are inclusive to anyone, I guess.
Yeah,
But
let's be palace.
I think our parents came to this country, a lot of immigrant, first generation kids, like our parents came to this country. It's a melting pot. Their kids are going to go to school with kids, with other people, with people of different races and different backgrounds. So like our parents can't be too shocked that we come home with someone from a different race if we end up dating them, you know, because like they know what the expectation was coming into this country and raising kids in a different country. Like if we grew up and we were born and raised in Ethiopia, we're most likely 90% sure we're going to date someone in Ethiopia, right? And marry someone in Ethiopia. So it's just, but when you come here, it's like the chances are a little bit slimmer. You know, because of the people you're surrounded with, the people you go to school with, your friends and things like that. And I think there's a lot of tensions and things like that when it comes to the stuff that goes on in, I mean, I guess we could say Horn of Africa. I mean, it's not just even Ethiopian tribes. I mean, there's, I have friends who are half Eritrean and Ethiopian too. There's also conflicts within that when it comes to your self-identity and also when it comes to dating as well. There's so many tribes in Ethiopia and Eritrea. There's so many different languages. There's so many different dialects. And I think the most important thing when it comes to dating is not race and their background.
Tread lightly.
It's not race. If they want to be controversial with this, it shouldn't be race. It shouldn't be their back. I think their tribe and who they're associated with in terms of their tribe and region or whatever, I think that's a big bonus. There's people who date within their tribes who have very bad marriages.
Yeah.
Who have very bad relationships.
Good point.
The most important things in a relationship, in the person you're marrying, is their values, their morals, the compatibility between one another. That's what's going to keep you sustainable in a marriage. We're newlyweds. I'm just saying.
Obviously, she's giving you a PC. Okay, that's a great thing to
No,
have
I'm just saying,
in
'cause
a marriage.
I'm just going off of what he said, though, because of
the
dating.
reason-
That's what you should look for.
Okay, and naturally, where is it easier for a family to find those things in a groom for their daughter from somebody that they know the family? That's
Right, but
exactly
in our
right, because you can
generation,
rely
though,
on the dad and the mom to somewhat pass it down, and also to hold them responsible, which is part of our culture and why they
Right.
do it that way.
But I'm saying, but in our generation, we look for our significant others. Our parents don't look for them. You know what I mean? So I'm saying it's up to you to know. If you know your values, you know yourself more than anybody else. You know yourself more than your parents. So when you're looking for those people, when you're dating, those are the things to consider. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I see
As
what you're
opposed
saying,
to in our culture, I mean, like what? My parents would go to you. No, I think your parents would come to my parents to ask for permission for marriage. Like it's just very different in terms of tradition. So here it's like we have the full control. So it's really up to us to own it.
But you don't have the full control, and you shouldn't have the full control. And ladies out there, you shouldn't have full control. You shouldn't be making that decision on your own. If you're doing that, that's irresponsible and dangerous. Just know that. PSA.
Okay.
Oh, he's going at it right now.
I'm dead serious. If you want to find a good husband, you can't just find that on your own.
Yes,
you can't
you
make
can.
that decision on your own.
The parents are biased of their kids. They might think that's the best kid ever, but you don't know what they're doing behind the scenes.
That's true. That's true. Producer number one yellow said that it could be biased from the parents' perspective. That's true. But who has a better chance of figuring out if this person's a good or not?
You know yourself more than anybody, or you know yourself more than your parents know you. More than your
that's
parents
not what I'm
know you.
saying. Who's the person that you're interested potentially in marrying, right?
Yeah.
who would have a better chance of knowing if they have bad qualities or dangerous qualities or all these things? The parents of that person or you who just met them?
Sometimes, I guess sometimes in
Come on,
relationships
what are
though,
we
but
talking
it
about?
depends though, because sometimes in relationships you can have like a sister that pulls you aside being like, hey, that guy don't seem right to you. Like, I don't know, I'm sensing something.
That's
or
true.
your
There's
friend would
always
be like,
one-offs.
or your parent would be like, oh, something seems off. I don't like him.
I'm asking you,
You know?
majority of the time. I'm not saying is there cases. That in general, if you are going to make a decision about if somebody is good for you or has the same qualities as you or wants the same thing out of life in terms of a marriage and living with you, what's the best way to approach it? If you're saying go about it by yourself, how does that make sense in this world? I understand you're saying it's more independent. We don't have a choice. That's kind of the culture here. That's what America is. But in general, what would you say is the best way to go about that if you're doing it by yourself? How does that make sense?
What I'm viewing is like, are you like a this sounds weird, like a tactical hunter? Is that how you say it? Like if there's someone you like, you want to know everything about that person through the lens of everyone else around them that is with them and that knows them more. So is that kind of like what you?
But
would
I think
do
their
before you
lenses don't
pursue?
matter though. I think your lens matters because everyone has a
Obviously,
bias.
but
Everyone has
doesn't your
perception.
lens
I don't
matter
go around asking.
after you step into it.
Yeah, but like when
after
I
you
started
know.
dating him, I didn't go around going up to his sister and his mom. What do you think of? What do you
Well,
think
he
of Olive?
pulled up with a high credit score already because like the family.
Because you knew the family and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean it's different. I guess it's different with us. I mean that's true. Yeah.
the point is,
because of our
it's not that you have to do it that way or that's the only way to do it. It's a game of percentages and odds, right? When you are when you're pursuing somebody, you want to give yourself the best chance for success. And success in this case is finding somebody who has the right interests and frame of mind for what you are as a person, right? They have to have the same qualities as you. Yes, you're going into a date or into dating and trying to figure that out, but that's a very hard process. I hear women all the time that say, oh, he deceived me. Oh, he had his representative out or whatever. Why is that? Because people can do that rather easily. So if you're being real, if you're not getting to know their family, it's going to be very impossible to know what is this person like. They're the ones who raised him and he grew up with or she grew up with. And so that goes back to what I was saying initially of why they have that idea of family. It doesn't mean that they should decide for you. But the idea that you alone can find a husband is crazy in my mind. You should be going to people who are close to you and you trust to say, what do you think about this person? Or what do you think is important for me to find in a significant other? So if Fulman's looking to date and he just goes out there to find somebody and doesn't say anything, doesn't ask any questions, doesn't introduce them to us, and they're just out there, yes, he could find somebody great. He could find somebody who's not great. I'm not saying it's a guarantee either way. The point is, you want to increase your odds. It's a game of numbers. The best chance you have
smart man.
is if you get more people involved
Game of statistics.
who care about you. It's that simple.
I think I agree with him to a certain extent though.
Especially for women.
I feel like you guys are like agreeing on the same thing, but
Certain
just on
things.
different angles.
That's one
sort
thing
of.
in marriage though. You're not gonna agree on everything with your spouse too. So I'm always like, I beg to differ.
Speaking of that, though, you mentioned something about marriages and then wedding. There's a difference between the two. Do you think Habeshas prepare you more for a wedding more than a marriage, or a marriage more than a wedding?
Look at that transition.
I think they prepare you more
Or
for
both?
marriage.
For marriage.
I think for marriage. I think they talk a lot about weddings, about how it should look, how it should be, who should sing, how we should dress. But at the end of the day, I think they intentionally prepare you for weddings, but I think they unintentionally prepare you for marriage. By unintentionally, I mean like in the way they act and the way they communicate with you, you know, and it's not always the same. It's not like I always get the best advice from like my parents or anything like that, but it's mostly like, oh, like cooking is just one example. Like, you know, like obviously people are like, oh, women, like they gotta cook and stuff, but like I'm hearing about like talks of cooking, about like making a meal for your husband and things like that, and like putting love into the meal and stuff like that. So like those are things that I'm thinking about too.
Go make me a
Not just for
sandwich?
marriage, but it's also just for like relationship building as well. You know, hey, I do make really good sandwiches, by the way. And also and also how to make a healthy home, like, you know, like how to keep your home very healthy and vibrant and not toxic. Obviously, like not toxic in the sense of
Full of
like,
nutrients.
not too many fighting or things like that. I think that those are just things that I feel like I've indirectly captured when it comes to unsolicited advice. Let me say that.
I would say probably it's close. I think when you're younger, they do some of what she's talking about in terms of indirectly influence you to be ready for marriage. But when you're older, maybe that's when they're preparing you for a wedding, in the sense that that's what they're talking about most of the time. You're somewhat an adult, already an adult. Probably would say when you're younger, they more show you like ways of I guess fulfilling your duty in a marriage, because there's pretty traditional, being that they come from a strong culture and tradition where one role is clearly identified and the other one's clearly identified.
Very conservative.
And that doesn't necessarily mean you get in the kitchen and I go outside and get the money, but
Yeah,
it
sometimes
can
he'll
mean
cook.
that.
Sometimes he'll cook.
It's more just out of duty. So like, things that you may pick up over time as you're growing up, and you see like your mom or your dad comes home late from work and they have dinner ready for them, or a bath ready for them, whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
It depends on each person, or maybe they give them a massage, or they have their clothes ready for them, or they've gotten the house clean for them so they feel comfortable and ready to relax, or whatever it is. Like I think they do things more indirectly, especially being the way that they were raised. A lot of times they're showing you by example rather than telling you.
Yep.
That's what I noticed the most out of them, is they're rarely going to say, Philmon, is really good for you to treat your wife like this, or
No.
treat your husband like
Yep.
this. They're going to say like, marry Habesha or something like that. And then you'll see day to day,
The stuff they do.
your mom is worried about your dad's health, or how he's doing day to day in terms of, is he stressed, or is he tired, or that kind of thing. And then maybe other people have seen like their dads, work extra hours so that their mom doesn't have to, or maybe it's not even financial, or even physical, just emotionally, in terms of how they communicate with each other, checking in on each other, caring about each other, that kind of thing. I think they're more nonverbal in terms of how they-
indirectly, kind of
That's
like going
a really
off
good
of
answer.
Yeah,
Both of you
indirectly.
guys.
And I was just going back to the cooking though. Like I've seen like the way my mom, like my dad will come home from work, she makes him a meal, like, and like she'll heat up a meal, or he'd be like, oh, like I'm tired or whatever. She'll heat him up some food, or she'll make him something, and then he'll eat it. And then like that's when they kind of start conversing and they ask how their day was and stuff like that. And like they share a bond over that meal. And for me, it wasn't just like, I wasn't told by my parents, oh, go in the kitchen, you got to cook, like you got to prepare for marriage. It was more just like me observing those made me want to learn how to cook more, because I wanted to have those kind of interactions where he comes from home and I cook a meal, and then I'm like, how's your day?
Yeah, but the one thing I'll say,
Comes back from work.
I mean, he comes back from work and then I make him a meal, and then,
but the one thing I'll say is, America in general does not get you ready for a marriage. Whether y'all want to hear that,
I mean,
or not.
that's
America
another
raises
kind
you
of-
for everything except a marriage. Like there's no growing up. The culture, the part of the culture doesn't include the idea of what's important in a marriage being instilled in you. It's mostly go get an education, go get a job,
Focus on
make
yourself.
money,
Focus on yourself.
move out from your parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally
It's like a
different in
stats
that.
game, like a-
It's more of driving you as an individual. Like you'll see most girls that are raised here, go to school, make sure you don't rely on anybody, make sure you get a good job,
Yep.
be successful, be happy. It's rarely on that list, even for Habesha people or people from a different culture, where it'll be like, make sure you get a good man. That's or they won't really say that, and or like we were talking about earlier, even the especially from the verbal side, it won't be to get a good man, make sure you do this, or you grow up and pay attention that I'm doing this, you need to do that as well. It won't be that. It will be more so, be smart.
Yeah, be smart. It's
Yeah,
literally be smart.
exactly.
You just gotta interpret what the heck that means.
That's so when you're saying more for wedding or marriage, neither, truthfully, like if especially here, but in general, I think it's nonverbal. Like I said.
yeah, I
Not
agree.
indirectly nonverbal. And I think also
that ties into like PDA, because what we learn from our parents non-verbally is like how they display and express love.
like my dad shows
So
our dad
how is
shows
that-
love in ways that are like, that's not traditional to what you like in movies, right? When you watch American movies, like the dad will kiss his wife and then he'll say, have a nice day, darling, and then he'll go off to work, right?
Yeah.
Or he'll give her a hug, and then but that's not really
That's
something
not
that
the
we see.
case.
It's more like,
Nah.
you know, the mom will make him breakfast, or she'll ask about how he's doing or something like that, or he'll come home and he'll bring her like I don't know, not like flowers or anything. It would just be like something he thought about her at work, and he brought home a souvenir and he thought about her, you know. It's just like little things like that, I think. Very indirect. But yeah.
He looks like he has something to say.
No, I don't.
Wait, was that a question, or it was just a
No,
comment?
just like
So,
what your thoughts on PDA. I think we never
Yeah.
really got to learn just public displays of affection. I think it's on the safer side to not show public displays of affection compared to doing it, if that makes sense. Because it's more of a risk if you just. For me, it makes me uncomfortable with people right next to me just making out. I mean, obviously.
Well, what's the benefit to PDA?
The benefit to PDA.
What, you make somebody feel like he's proud to like kiss me in front of everybody? I mean, outside of that, like,
hey,
what?
you do you. If that's what you want to do. Like me personally, it's just I find it uncomfortable. I mean, like sometimes occasionally we'll like hold hands like the mall. Like that's the closest.
That's
to PDA.
because she gets lost a lot.
I do get lost in the
Put
mall.
on a leash.
I do get lost a lot. I have zero sense of direction, but
Nah, I think we didn't really get to learn. Displays of affection, saying love you, saying honey, saying darling, saying
I think Habeshas and I think a
all
lot
that
of
stuff.
immigrant parents, they show love in different ways, and that's
Yeah.
the way they show love is, you know.
It goes back to how they're raised
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Not to make an excuse, but
Yeah.
also like when you are raised a certain way,
Mhm.
it's likely you're going to act in that way when it's your turn to raise somebody else, or
Mhm.
inherently like you just become similar to them in some ways. Like I'm sure how many people like you look back, or not look back, but like you'll just be in the middle of your day and realize, damn, I'm becoming like my dad, or I'm becoming like my mom, or
Yeah.
like, why do I do that? Oh, my dad does that or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
it happens a lot. So it's just we're humans, but like we have animalistic like type
exactly
tendencies in terms of like we just pick up things without realizing
Mhm.
a lot of the times, and it becomes learned behavior. So like if you don't see, like you said, like your parents kissing out in public or saying I love you when they leave or whatever it is, you might not do it. You might also do it, and they might do it and you might not do it. It's possible, but like more
Mhm.
times than not, if they don't do it, you're probably
Yeah.
not going to be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Like
yeah.
I don't know about him. I mean, I'm sure it's the same, but like for us, like we didn't really observe any form of PDA growing up with our parents. So, and you know, like I said, we've seen love in different ways. Like we've seen their love in different ways and stuff, especially from the man. I think Habesha men are very like. I think women are very like they like to be a little bit more affectionate. You know, like oh my gosh, I want to
Habesha
hug.
woman or woman?
I think both. Like we're just like I want to hug. I mean, okay,
really.
hey, if they want to disagree with me, I think women in general, including Habesha women, like we're just a little bit more like, can I hold my hand, or I want your arm over my shoulder, and then you guys are more like, okay, let me get you a water bottle, or I'm gonna fill your car with
Water
gas up. You know, let me make sure you stay hydrated, or you know, like you know,
No, I can see that.
yeah, they
Habesha woman.
take care of things. And
Public display of affection, making your plate for you. That's one way they do it traditionally. That's what they do. I'm serious. That's what they do.
I mean,
No,
yeah,
I've seen
or
that.
they
I'm saying
pour
for
a
them.
drink, or they pour a drink for you too.
That's what they do.
They pour like edge or
Yeah.
soa or something. They do that.
That's what they do.
And then the men throw a lemon. Right, chuck that at the forehead.
They should-
Right. I wish if I was down there, bro. You know how many lemons I would have? I would make so many lemon jokes. I don't know, just like juggling.
when life gives you lemons.
Get a wife in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
There
But
you go.
okay, I
Or
just
more
wanted to
than
dive into that topic.
You did not hear that.
I'm gonna hear that in editing. There was a question that I wanted to hear your guys' opinion on. It was
Let's get messy.
no, it's a comforting, sweet question. We're winding down. Do you view your families differently after getting married, or after getting into a relationship?
Who do you want to answer that first?
I feel like there's an answer for you that I think you would have.
Do I view my parents and family differently?
Have you viewed your family differently
After the wedding?
getting into a relationship, getting into all this?
Oh, relationship, dating
Dating, all
and
that
marriage. Yeah, for sure.
Y'all heard that?
I definitely. I think it's like as you get older, you go into different stages of your life and you see different aspects of your parents. You know, when you become a teenager, you know, your parents start to talk to you differently, you know, and then you become an adult, they start talking to you about different things, you know. And I think dating wise, I think especially going into the wedding, it's like I saw a side of them that I've never seen before. You know, planning a large event, managing stress, you know, seeing how they do all these things and juggling all these things and I've
How
seen
did
them.
they handle that?
Yeah, I don't know how they did. Of course, with me, I helped them handle it. Helped them manage their stress. I'm just kidding. I don't know how we did it. So yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'd see them differently. Wait, was that what you expected to hear?
I thought you were gonna go a little more specific. Like, okay, I guess I'll just say it. I feel like you see me more, you accept more of my male tendencies a lot more after you getting into a relationship.
Okay, so if you want to really get that specific, okay,
like if me and thing number 2 were getting into an argument or disagreement, you would understand where I'm coming from based off of like the male mindset that I step into.
Yeah, that's true. I think because, I mean, if we're talking even about dating, it's, you not only do you learn a lot about yourself, you learn a lot about guys and the way they,
very easy to live with and
the way they
with.
operate, the way their brains work. Like, they don't think like women.
Efficiently, well.
They don't think like women. Like, so
Building
sometimes
society.
if my siblings get into an argument, sometimes I understand my brother's perspective a little bit more. I do understand my sister's, but I used to not understand my brother's perspective as much as I did before, since dating Allah, because of the way they think. And so I've started to become more open to it. Like, guys, that's just how they are.
You see that, guys? That's evolution. You got with a man.
Speaking of evolution, I took an anthropology class years behind, and women are actually mentally 2 years ahead than men. So just calling that out.
That's cap.
Okay.
Cap.
I'm just gonna start
debating.
debating.
Your answer.
Yeah.
Carlos?
Do I see them differently, my family? A little bit, but no, just because I've seen them differently since becoming like an adult, truthfully. Since I moved out of the house, since I've like started my life, if you will, with like trying to get a career post-grad. You live life until you graduate, but like once you graduate, you figure out like, okay, for 20 years or so, like school is like a big part of your identity, whether it's a choice or not, right? Elementary school all the way through college. When you become an adult, you have to like figure out life outside of just, do you want to be dating somebody? What job do you want? How do I like navigate the world? And like, how do I feel about certain things? And what do I do with those feelings? Like, and then also, how do you deal with like disappointment or not being where you want to be at any given moment and stuff like that? And then you start to find yourself in similar situations where you could see where they were maybe at that point in their life. And then you see them more as a person than your parents, because your parents are, when you're growing up, you're like, I didn't choose to be brought in this world. Take care of me and make things easy, right? And it should be that way, right? Ideally. But later on, when you're an adult, it's not excusing it, because they should do their best to be good parents to you. But sometimes you realize like life just life. So sometimes you think you're going to be at this point in 10 years. A ton of things happen in between those now and those 10 years that pass. And then you realize, okay, maybe they did plan on being business owners or plan on being more there for us emotionally, or whatever it may be in their relationship or in our family dynamic. But when you look back, you realize there's little things in your own life that have kept you from like being the full version of what you wanted. And so the same thing could have been happening to them throughout life. Yeah. Where it's not an intentional, I don't really care about that, or I'm not going to try to do that. But they may have just failed at doing what they tried to do. And failure is a part of everybody's life, obviously. Or, I mean, I don't know anybody who hasn't failed. It may not fail. You might not fail every day, or you might not fail at the biggest things, but you fail in little ways in life, and you have to become okay with that. Becoming okay with it is really what gave me the perspective to understand, like, they're people too. Maybe they just didn't plan things out. Maybe they planned them out and they didn't work out the way that they thought. And so the reason I bring that up is because the wedding does trigger some of that too, right? So like you do see them in, like she said, doing things that you've never seen them like involved in. And so it brings a different light or side of them. But really, life in general, I think, is what gave me the biggest, like, seeing them in a different light. Just because that perspective, it's a big challenge for yourself to get adjusted to that. So you can only imagine how it is for them. Not to say it's harder, but it's just different. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think also going off of what he said, also, like, as you're younger, you feel like when you look up to your parents, you're like, oh my gosh, they have their stuff together. They know what they're doing. They know how to plan events, christening, grad parties. Like they know what they're doing, right? And then as you get older, and then you yourself are planning a wedding, and then you're working with them on planning a wedding, and then it's like they're managing the stress, or like they don't know what to do about certain things. It's like, oh, like, you know what? They actually never had their stuff together. They just faked it till they make it. They learn as they grow. And like, that's when I really realized I started seeing them differently. What I mean by that is like, I saw them more as, you know, like you said, people, not just our parents, you know? And I think a lot of people start to realize that as they get older and they go through certain events and milestones that, like, you know, what we once thought when we were younger was they knew everything. They really didn't, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think having that empathy for your family helps you protect your marriage in a way? Because like you hear the opinions from your family, your community, and people around you, like just maybe not piercing, but they throw in suggestions or they throw in comments. Do you think having that empathy for like them as well help you protect your marriage in a way?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are always going to be opinions about our marriage. I mean, we've only been married for like, what, 4 months? And people are already saying things like, you know, I mean, good things, you know, unsolicited feedback, I'll take it, you know, what you should do. Like, what is that one thing now we're getting a lot now? Babies, buying a house, you know, where to move, what to do. And then I'm also trying and start a business on the side too. It's like, so just little things like that too. And so it's like, how is that going to affect your marriage? You know, are you going to be there for your spouse and things like that? So I think in terms of empathy, it's a lot of it is just their opinion. Like, they want the best for you. And a lot of the times they don't really know what they're saying. Like, I really took that. It took me a long time to understand that. So it's like, they don't know more than me. They don't know. They just know from experience, but that doesn't mean they know what they're saying. And so it's really just from their natural upbringing, and they learn from their own experiences. So I do have a hard time with this, but I try to take it with a grain of salt. Yeah. You know, but I accept all feedback.
I mean, I wouldn't say, I mean, empathy helps, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
Because then it gives you perspective. But in general, people have lots of opinions, regardless if it's just your marriage. And like, most of the like when you get advice from somebody about something that they're actively not doing and you're doing, a lot of times their advice is just like, all right, I didn't need that. Right? Most people give you advice for things that they have no idea about, or if they do have an idea about, they're really just kind of saying anything. I would say when it comes to a marriage, a lot of the times people are telling you to do things that they wish they did or they think is a good idea from their perspective. But a lot of times they never did it for themselves in their life. And that applies more than just marriage. But in particular for marriage, it's like, if you want to protect your marriage, and I'm, again, like you said, we're just married, so I'm not going to pretend like I've been doing this for decades. But like, if you want to protect your marriage, you have to understand what that means. If I'm making a commitment to you, it doesn't mean that everybody else doesn't matter, but I can't allow everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and decisions to affect how I treat you or how I see you. It has to be your comments, your decisions are separate, and whatever your family or whatever my family says is just exactly that. They're the larger audience. Yeah. Just like you wouldn't, if you're looking at government, you wouldn't expect like somebody who's in Congress to be worried about what a councilman is saying.
They're the audience, not the main character. Basically. I had to put that in. That's true, yeah.
I wouldn't say they're an audience, but like they're more of like an NPC in the background or whatever. They're not the main character who's doing things, who's making decisions in this marriage. Yeah. They're main characters for something else. That's it.
Yeah, but empathy, like you said, they're coming from a good place. So it's like, I feel you. I feel this is what you wanted for yourself, or this is what you think is best. You're coming from a good place, but, you know, like, take it with a grain of salt. So there is an importance of having empathy to it too, because it really gets you to understand them more.
It does kind of answer the next question, which leads to the final question before we land the plane on the podcast. It is,
I was actually having a lot of fun.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to young Habesha adults today, whether it's about relationships, family, or just navigating life in our culture?
One piece of advice, go.
You go first.
Learning and development. Consultant doesn't want to go first. Okay.
I want to ponder on this a little bit.
We'll cut out the editing thinking.
So there's a lot of things in there. Okay. So life, marriage, school. There's lots of advice that I could say. I'm not perfect, so take it or leave it. Honestly, my advice. But from my perspective, in terms of, I'm gonna try to touch as much as possible, as broadly as possible, so it's short. But in terms of life, I would say, remember, like, and focus on who you are and what's important to you. If you're caught up in accomplishments and goals and other things, those things are good, but it can consume you. And that's why the culture that exist in like Western countries can be very toxic or tiring for people is because you feel like I'm on a treadmill almost, and I'm trying to get to the next thing, and that's great if you want to be successful or rich or happy, whatever it is you might be pursuing. Maybe it's just to have a happy marriage or to have a happy relationship with your significant other. Maybe you don't get married, whatever it is for yourself. In terms of like life in general, I guess really what I would say is be grounded in your like family and your culture, especially if you're lucky to have one that's like Habesha culture where it goes back for so long. Nothing is perfect, and obviously things change as time goes on, so I wouldn't say like we need to do the culture needs to be exactly the same as it was 1,000 years, but there's a great like I guess comfort you can find in knowing that for thousands of years people have practiced certain things, found certain parts of our culture are accustomed to be rewarding for themselves or for their family. And so try to incorporate as much as that as possible rather than just absorbing what's around you and where you live now, because truthfully speaking, you only are here by circumstance, right? Not by being Canada, America, Mexico, whatever country you might be in. And so it's good to assimilate yourself and learn other cultures, but ground yourself in that, in your family, in your culture, in the morals that come from that, and then everything else will be clear. Because if you know where you're coming from, you can understand where you're going.
Oh,
That's it.
Okay. Close it off with that.
That was good.
Know
Going
where
off
you
of
come
what
from,
he's
understand where you're going.
That's good. Going off of what he said, I mean, I think it's important to know where you come from. Having, it lays the foundation for your roots, your morals, your values, and I think that gets ingrained in every other aspects of your life, whether it's your career, business, family, things like that. And I think with Habesha culture, our families are very, very traditional, very involved, right? They like to do a lot of things together, very big families, especially when it comes to like large events like graduations and weddings and things like that. They like to really provide input, and that also shows in other aspects too of your life. So it's like not only are they providing advice in your wedding, but it's also like in your marriage, like what you should do, how you should act, like when you should do this, like why does this doesn't look good, and I think my advice is for the dating world, navigating through life and things like that, is to not to and I also have a hard time trying to take this advice too, but to take everything with a grain of salt, because there's going to be so many opinions out there, and honestly you can't satisfy everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you can choose to do one thing. Let's say you decide to marry someone they don't approve of, they're not happy, or maybe you marry someone they approve of and then they find something else they don't like about him, or they don't like some other lifestyle change you made in with yourself, or you decided to go for a small wedding, but then you had a beautiful marriage, but they were still upset that the wedding was small. So it's like, you're never, if you're always thinking about their opinions, you're never yourself is going to be satisfied. Of course, it's important to value your family, to respect them, and to incorporate everything that they have to say lightly, but like I said, just not fully ingrain it in your life, while also accepting the values and where you come from. I think all of that is important.
You heard what she said.
It's important to accept the values, but I think people have to find a balance with accepting the values and what our parents have taught us in terms of culture. But that doesn't mean that you should listen to every single thing they say, because they don't know what's best for you at the end of the day. They have good hearts, but at the same time, you also have to understand, like, yourself and what makes you happy. Like, if you don't want to go to school and they think that's what's best, and you think you want to quit college and start a business, and that's not the traditional route, and they don't support it, and yourself, go for it. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's just how life is. So take everything with a grain of salt, and just understand that they're always coming from a good place, because they want the best for you. And that's my advice.
That was good. You did good. There was a lot of Habesha moms that just, like, when they heard drop out, they said, wait, good? Then they started bugging out.
Do what makes you happy. Like, honestly, like, do what makes you happy. Like, just live your life. I feel like immigrants, like even Habeshas, like, we get a lot of pressure because we have to do things perfectly because our parents came here and they came from like they came to this country with so little and they sacrificed so much. So like we have this expectation to be perfect and to have a perfect wedding, to have a perfect career, to have perfect kids. And so it's like you, at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you and make yourself happy. And whether it's dating and anything else that you're going through life. And I think that's important for Habeshas to know.
Yeah.
Because the majority of them are first generation, you know, a majority of them are children of immigrant parents. So I think it's important for them to know.
But I would say, like, on that point, like when you say you feel extra pressure or whatever, I think it's also part of that is like when you grow up in another country than what your parents grew up, you're only taking, obviously the vocal part is the pushing you or telling you to do certain things, and that's where your pressure is coming from. But you have to consider also there's other parts of your culture that they have that you are not getting because it's not as like at the forefront like what they're telling you, which is go to school and do all this stuff. But other parts of the culture is what helped them become like the people that they are now, which is like the community aspect, going to church, helping like people around them, things of that nature, like things that are like harder for us to kind of get ingrained with here because it's just different because we're living amongst other people with other cultures and stuff. And so what happens is like it feels like our culture means go to school, do this and do that. It's because like I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm just saying like part of it is like we ourselves aren't in the same position as them to really understand and feel the impact of the whole culture. It's more than just that, but because we're here, we get that. That's where it's really coming from.
Yeah, and it's also different.
I think you both are kind of like agreeing on the same thing and just saying it differently.
Yeah. And it's also just different, like, circumstance, too. Like, they came here, they have different goals, and they might have different expectations for us. But when we're born into this world, into this country, we have our own expectations for us as well, while also considering what they're saying, too. So I think there's always pressure, inner conflict as well. So I think that's a lot of the challenges that I think Habeshas go through. But the community thing, you make a really good point, though. I think we've learned a lot about that because the Habesha communities here and our generation, the way we kind of come together is really good. It's so impressive, you know, like in-person events, digital events and things like that. I think we've learned a lot about that from our parents coming together, you know, from 30 years ago. So I think that's cool too. Yeah.
Oh, I disagree, but that'll be for another episode.
Oh my God.
Okay. I think we're running out of time slowly. But this was a good episode.
Yeah,
Talk about a lot.
My people are waiting in the back. I got somewhere to be next.
If you guys like this Valentine's Day special, we were all wearing red, dark red. I thought it fit the theme. But I think we touched on
even got red socks.
I think we all touched on some good topics, very important topics. We helped a lot of people, spoke to a lot of people, and we're all saying this with a grain of salt. This is all from our personal experiences. We're not talking down to you. We're not talking up to you. We're just talking with you. We're all experiencing the same exact things. So thank you, Iyarus, for joining the podcast. I really appreciate you joining. Thank you, Alula, for joining the podcast. I really appreciate you joining.
Yes, sir. Thank you
for having us.
It was a great conversation. Make sure, again, hit like, subscribe, follow my boy.
Thank you.
Hope you like this episode.
2026 podcast is blowing up.
Let's go. So this is what we typically do in the outros. We just do like a little signing off, peace out, da-da-da-da. So I'm just like, thank you for watching the Brief Dive podcast. I'm going to catch you.
All at the same time.
All at the same time.
Okay. Let's get it. I seen Zabi mess this up 100 times.
All right. Thank you guys for watching the Brief Dive podcast. I'm going to catch you.
Peace.
Podcast.